What's a company secret you can share now that you don't work there? Part 2. I'm 90% sure a company I worked for was importing products from China, repacking them, and selling them as made in the USA, i.e., blending it with the product we did make in the US. Assembled in the USA is code for this, where all they do is put the made in China into a plastic bag. All new clothing and everything you try on is dirty. I've worked in retail for years and it still shocks people, but there's no washing machine or disinfectant spray or wipes. Nothing. I've opened boxes of new clothes that had white bugs coming out of them. Seen a woman after a workout class come and try clothes on, then just leave still sweaty from the class. One older lady left dime-sized skin flakes in the clothes she tried on. Not to mention whatever happens when they return the item or what happened in the factory. People are gross. Nothing is clean. Always wash your clothes when you get them home. When I worked at a Godiva store, we would turn expired chocolate bars into sample pieces. This has to be the most benign comment in this whole thread. If you go to an event that has event security, ask them for better seats, or be really nice to them, they might bring you something special. I work at a hockey rink. We give nice people pucks and pins and let them go down to the front to see the players. The secret ingredient of Jimmy John's tuna salad is soy sauce. Edit, Kikkoman soy sauce specifically. I worked at Jimmy John's, and when I got home one day to make a tuna sub, my family was shocked as to why I put soy sauce in my tuna, even though they love eating at Jimmy John's just as much as I do. They never realized the soy sauce trick. Worked at Best Buy 20 years ago. Employee discount was 5% over cost, and I needed a new printer. Decided to splurge on the gold-plated USB printer cable that we sold for $1.40. Rang up $1.78. I worked there in high school, early college during the break a bit. Definitely took advantage of accessory pricing. Other thing that was nice was the Intel and AMD employee offers, where you'd get CPUs and motherboards for probably 50% off or better. There was a similar program for some car audio stuff too, probably close to 75% off head units, subwoofers, amplifiers, etc. I bought probably $2,000 worth for like $500 and sold it for $1,000. The stain protector is only useful if you actually file a claim. It isn't a magic fucking potion. Most furniture companies sell some sort of stain protector as an add-on. People buy it, thinking it has some magic ability to prevent stains over the life of a piece of upholstery. Then, 5 years later, spill some Kool-Aid on that shit, and the stain doesn't come out. With most of these protectors, there's a warranty claim process that will get you a new sofa, or a new set if your sofa pattern isn't made anymore, but nobody ever files a claim. That's the gimmick. The company is counting on you not actually holding them to the deal that they made you, and virtually nobody does. On a similar note, a sofa we bought at a big box furniture store has broken 4 times now. They replaced a section of it 3 times and that section continues to break. We're not rough on it, but the wood cracks. We're hoping this time they actually repair it instead of replacing it. The last time they replaced it, the guys delivering even said that they knew they'd be back. I've never been so happy I bought a warranty, but also so frustrated at a cheap product. Edit, the store is Value City. The vehicle modification shop at Chillicothe Correctional Institution in Chillicothe, Ohio dumps waste coolant from the machine shop into a storm drain that empties directly into the Scioto River, because the chemical disposal tank is a 55-gallon drum in the paint shop, and that's much too small. They can't throw me into solitary confinement for complaining anymore. Edit, this happens about once a year when the machine's coolant reservoirs are emptied and the coolant replaced. It's not on a schedule, it's one of those things that you do when work is slow. Each machine holds 15, 20 gallons, and usually you just add more as it evaporates, but eventually it gets nasty and needs replaced. It's supposed to go in a waste tote to be disposed of safely, which is what every non-government machine shop does. Being able to prove this is being done would require knowing when they're going to do this, and that's a decision that's often made a spur of the moment. Hey, work is slow, let's have a cleanup day. There aren't any phones in the machine shop either. Edit 2. A container to store the waste properly costs $200. Why waste taxpayer money when we can just poison the taxpayers instead? One of the best restaurants in my town is locally famous, and everyone goes there. They say everything is homemade. The thing they are famous for is the hot beef sandwiches, with homemade potatoes and gravy, and the fish fry. The fish fry they also have during the week is listed as an entree called the cod platter. It is instant Cisco brown gravy mix and instant Cisco mashed potatoes. The cod is only fresh and fried on Fridays. If you order it during the week, it is frozen breaded Cisco fish fillets, aka a blend of random fish shaped into a stick. I can understand some of these posts. But how does anyone taste instant mashed potatoes and confuse them with tasty homemade potatoes? In the United States, one company's bread and butter was simply reboxing and relabeling computer monitors from China to make it seem like they were from the company and made or assembled in some way by them. I work for a wholesaler. You would be surprised how many companies simply source merchandise and sell it without ever touching it. We ship it directly to their customers for them. Just swap the return address for theirs. I worked at a company that was basically a warehouse with some offices built in a corner. I was hired to run marketing ads. The pay was great because I learned a lot with AdWords and Amazon reselling, which led to an uptake in sales. The owner was Chinese and had connections to some warehouses in Guangdong and Shenzhen, China, where he literally just ordered products off their catalogs. We had our US-made logos slapped on their products, and the owner demanded we act made in America. I got out as soon as I could. So unethical everything about it was. But boy, did eBay and Amazon love us. Almost everything on Amazon is the same setup as my above example. Next to nothing is made in the US anymore and sold on Amazon or eBay. I worked for a major hotel chain in housekeeping for over 10 years. The number of suicides and people who die naturally in their rooms is a lot higher than you'd think. I worked at a huge convention hotel with over 1,000 rooms, and it happened quite often. Unless it was a pretty gnarly mess, it would just get cleaned like normal, and the next guest had no idea. At one of the hotels I worked at, a woman killed herself by drinking antifreeze. Her body was blue, blood, vomit, and poop everywhere. My friend who was in maintenance saw it and couldn't sleep that night. Working at hotels will change you. Ice manufacturing, my shift manager dropped a 7-gram bag of weed in a bag of ice. It went out for delivery. No one ever phoned in to complain though. But did anyone phone in to thank you? Everyone's favorite sauce that people wanted in the recipe was mostly mayonnaise. Sure, it was called creamy pineapple sauce, but it's just pineapple salsa and mayonnaise. Pretty much every restaurant's special sauce is mostly mayonnaise. If you pick up a wall phone at Home Depot and push 7, it activates the store-wide intercom. This works in every store in my province of Faik. Movie theaters don't make money off the tickets, they make money off the food and drinks. Despite this, 99.9% of theater staff give less than 0 shits if you sneak food in. All we ask is that you're subtle enough that we don't get yelled at by the 0.1% who cared. I think I heard it best, that as long as you're not bringing in food with a strong enough aroma or noise that it disturbs other guests, then nobody will care. I almost exclusively go to theaters, though that provide full dinner menus. Once I brought my own ketchup in a Tupperware because the place serves excellent fries, but never provides enough ketchup. The server noticed once and told me I couldn't bring in my own food. I'm 100% certain it was a liability issue in that if I got food poisoning or sick from my own food, I couldn't end up suing the theater. She made me promise that I wouldn't eat it. I promised. I lied. I worked at a candy bagging warehouse like the crappy .99 gas station candy, where we would even make trail mix by hand. Tons of sweat would drip into the mix because we would be in a 100F+ room with little ventilation. Also, my boss was a hunter, so a quarter of the warehouse was dedicated to his taxidermy treasure room. Fucking smelt like shit in the summer, but he was so proud of himself. Edit. Also should add that if the expiration dates were bad, we would use nail polish remover to take the date off. I used to work for a rural ISP. We had one access point with 13 customers, but only 12 IP addresses were provisioned. This means only 12 out of 13 people could be online at any one time. Anytime a customer called from that service area, we'd log in and reboot the tower's radios, kicking everyone offline to force DHCP renewals. It always meant whoever was calling in was able to get an IP and get online. But we knew that if all 13 customers wanted to be online at once, we wouldn't be able to service them. I brought it up with management, but they deemed it too expensive to address. I explained that it made us look like a fly-by-night shady-as-hell outfit. Since it was a rural ISP, I knew I was not just talking to one person either. I was talking to him, his wife, dog, kids, priest, and 5 buddies from the coffee shop. Make a bad impression on one person, and you might as well take out an ad in their local paper calling the whole town assholes. I handed out a lot of free months of service working there, and would often make the point credits aren't revenue for justifiability angry customers. Edit. The ISP no longer exists, but the company that bought it out has now been correctly guessed. Well done, Reddit Hivemind. I used to work as a receptionist at an upscale salon. While I was there, the salon introduced a new line of products marketed towards men. Up until that point, most of our products were marketed towards women. But the execs saw that we were getting more male customers. Every item in the men's product line was about half the cost of our other products. The men's shampoo was the exact same shampoo the salon had been selling for years, but because they put it in black packaging with the word man on it, it was half the price. The owner's explanation was, well, men don't want to pay that much for hair products. For the rest of the time I worked there, every time a woman came up to buy that shampoo, I'd tell her that the men's shampoo was the exact same product for half the price. I worked at a comic book store that offered a service where you paid a small premium to send in rare comics to have them graded at CGC. A few months later, we had many customers coming in to check the status of their comics. We contacted the owner to see what was going on, and he would always claim that there was some distribution problem. Fast forward a few months, we found out he was taking customers' graded copies and selling them online while trying to return back-issue versions of their original comics. I used to work at the front desk of a hotel. More often than not, if we tell you we're fully booked when you try to make a reservation, we actually are. But sometimes it's just bullshit we make up because we got a bad vibe from you. We get blamed if we accept a booking from a person who then trashed the room or was just all around annoying or rude to the staff. It's not all hotels I worked at that do this, but some do. Health insurance dude. When you file a claim, it is often denied because they're counting on you not escalating it. Once you do, your case goes to a medical management group, which ought to be called the We Don't Want to Pay group. Keep escalating and involve your doctor. Fight for the insurance you paid for.